5:30 p.m. and you are now attending at this point in time the pre-town meeting. It's a select board meeting and it's an annual event so that people can come in and ask questions about the upcoming town meeting, which takes place on March 2nd. Next Monday night.
You got it.
And and if anybody's wondering, it's going to be down at the auditorium, and it's going to start at 7 p.m. And so everyone should have had their town reports by now. And we do have a handout for everyone to make a correction to something that is in the town report and warning and Article 5. And so we will be making that correction tonight, and we will also be noting it at town meeting as well. So the first thing that we have on our agenda is we're going to be reading the articles. Are you there, Martha?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm muting everybody. The Orca mic is giving us feedback. But you should be good to go.
And I
Yeah,
just need-
it was, but I just.
Is that better?
Yeah, I'm gonna mute you though, Martha.
Throw it out the window?
No, it's okay. No, it's okay. I muted it, so it's not.
working anyways, so.
Oh. Okay, we're good now.
Okay, so I'm going to start reading what we're going to be going through at our town meeting next week. And so it's a warning, Town of Rochester annual town meeting to be held Monday night, March 2nd, 7 p.m. at the Rochester Hub Auditorium. The legal voters of the Town of Rochester, County of Windsor, State of Vermont are hereby notified and warned to meet in the Rochester Hub Auditorium located at 222 South Main Street in said town on Monday, March 2nd, 2026 at 7 p.m. to transact the following business. We have 14 articles. Article 1, to elect a moderator for the ensuing year. Article 2, to elect all town officers required by law. Under Article 2, we have 1, to elect a select board member for a 3-year term. We do have a select board member here that perhaps would like to make an announcement.
Sure. I am the 3-year seat's coming up, and I have decided not to pursue continuing on. So it will be up for filling.
So we will have an election from the floor next week. Number 2, to elect a lister to a 3-year term. Number 3, to elect a collector of delinquent taxes for a 1-year term. Number 4, to elect a library trustee for a 5-year term. Number 5, to elect a library trustee for a 2-year term. And number 6, to elect a trustee of public funds, a 3-year term. And number 7, to elect a cemetery commissioner for a 5-year term. Anybody that is interested in running for the select board seat can contact myself, Chad, or Mike. And we're fairly easy to get to, but if you can't find us, let Julie know and we'll call you. We'd be open for discussing this with anybody that has interest. Serving your town is such a gratifying thing to do, and I recommend it. It's a great way to satisfy your civil duty all at once. Just do it. And we'll move on to what Article 3 says. Shall the voters authorize the treasurer to collect current taxes pursuant to 32 VSA Section 4791? Article 4, shall the voters authorize payment of real taxes in 4 installments, which due dates being Monday, August 17th, 2026, Monday, November 16th, 2026, Tuesday, February 16th, 2027, and Monday, May 17th, 2027, that's the important one, by physical delivery to the tax collector before 5 p.m. on those dates, and just putting a stamp and a postmark on the envelope does not count. Can't say I mailed it in time if we got it late. Article 5, shall the voters authorize total highway and general fund expenditures of $1,577,803, of which $1,230,490 shall be raised by taxes. I think I gotta look in my book on that. We have an amendment to that article, and it should read, shall the voters authorize total highway and general fund expenditures of $1,578,303, of which $1,230,990 shall be raised by taxes. Article 6. Shall the voters authorize the select board to, go ahead.
Are you expecting that amendment to be offered from the floor?
Yes. And we'll also have handouts on, at the town meeting as well.
Would that new number provide for the tax support for the hub budget?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Which is the culprit.
It's more clear, yes.
It's more clear in the handout. You'll see in the blue section.
I do.
Now, Article 6, shall the voters authorize the select board to borrow money in anticipation of taxes, if needed? That was my
Yeah.
last thing. Article 7, shall the voters authorize the select board to borrow an amount not to exceed $156,200 for the purchase of a Dodge Ram 5500 for the highway department. Article 8, shall the voters appropriate $53,883 towards operating expenses of the Rochester Library. Article 9, shall the voters appropriate $21,491 to continue funding recycling with North Star Rubbish Removal LLC from July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027. Article 10, shall the voters approve the transfer of any remaining fiscal year 27 fire department budgeted funds at the end of the fiscal year to the fire department equipment reserve fund, if any. Article 11, shall the voters appropriate $1,000 to the tennis reserve fund, the annual contribution. Article 12, shall the voters appropriate $20,000 to the highway grant projects reserve fund. Article 13, shall the voters appropriate the following sums as requested by these community agencies. The Central Vermont Council on Aging, $3,000. Clara Martin Center, $2,066. Green Up Vermont, $100. Orange County Parent Child Center, $300. Quintown Senior Center, $9,849. Safeline, $250. Tri-Valley Transport, formerly Stagecoach, $1,300. Visiting Nurse Association of New Hampshire and Vermont, I believe, $4,800. White River Partnership, $875. And Atria, formerly Women's Safe, $250. That total is $22,790. That figure is on top of the budget figure. So when you vote on these appropriations, it's not folded into the budget, it's on top of the budget. Article 14, to transact any other legal and proper business to be brought before said meeting. And that would be dated, Rochester, we dated it 20th day of January 2026. All three of us signed it, received at town office 20th day, January 2026 for recording and signed for by Julie. Are there any further discussions about this? Any of the articles?
Yeah, I'd like to read this about the Article 5 change.
Absolutely. Give me a break.
Yeah. So this is a little bit of an explanation about why we need to make changes to Article 5. The Budget and Finance Committee, which operates under the direction of the Select Board, uses a budget variance spreadsheet tool to develop the annual budget and track year-over-year variances in the following categories: general fund, highway fund, appropriations, and articles. The tool also includes a tax tabulation tab that estimates the tax rate based on budget submissions and provides a year-over-year comparison of the projected tax rate impact. During this budget cycle, a decision was made to create a separate tab within the tool to track the hub revenues and expenses. This was done to better understand the financial impact of the hub project on the overall budget and tax rate and to provide greater transparency. The Select Board relies on this budget tool when voting on the final budget and determining the amount to be raised by taxes for presentation to the voters at town meeting. When the total expenditure budget and the amount to be raised by taxes was presented to the Select Board at our warned meeting for approval, the hub revenue and expenses, although they were tracked separately, were inadvertently not included in the final totals that the Select Board approved. It's important to note that the projected tax increase on which the board based our approval of the overall budget did include the hub revenues and expenses. So the tax increase that we had previously spoke about, 3.27%, is unchanged. As Pat indicated, to correct this issue, Article 5 will need to be amended from the floor at the town meeting. Specifically, the town and highway fund expenditures must be increased by $106,609, and the amount to be raised by taxes must be increased by $43,516. And Pat gave the totals, the revised totals that comes to. So that is a fuller explanation as to what's up with Article 5.
Sounds like we're forgiven.
I guess.
Is there any discussion on this or any other of the articles? Anybody need an explanation of what an article's about, or?
I'd like to point out a small thing if I could on Article 4, for the taxes. We're changing it to 5 PM. It was 4 PM. This doesn't sound like a big deal, but I'm assuming not a lot of people will be happy about this. So yeah, with that first payment, the August 17th payment, the time of delivery is 5 PM instead of 4 going forward. So we shouldn't have any delinquencies, I don't think.
No, not at all. That extra hour's gonna do it.
Yep, it should make a huge deal given what we hear.
They'll be running.
Yep.
Because you left at 4.
Exactly,
People
yeah,
running.
it's gonna be a big deal. Yep.
Anybody else? Come on, Rob.
Yeah, I want to talk about the $43,000, I don't know what you call it, it's not article, the money the town would give to support the hub. And first of all, I want to say, I don't want to argue with anybody about this. These are my opinions. Maybe I'm full of crap. I'm just telling you what I think. This has always been about money to me. It's always been about money from the very beginning, from the time I was sitting in that committee when they decided to close the high school. It was about money. I'm happy that you're having events down there. I'm happy, but this is about money to me. It's a lot of money. With this new ask, it's $96,000 coming out of taxpayers' pockets to keep this machine rolling. And I'm just saying that's a lot of money.
Adding the 2 years together.
Yeah, adding the 2 years together. That's a lot of money. And then, of course, it's $5 million to renovate the building, up from $3.5 million. I have always been concerned, and I've been arguing with Vic about this for years, and I cannot get him to agree with me, that I don't believe that the VHI folks have been putting money in the foreground. We always have good news in the foreground. But this is a lot of taxpayer money, and more important to me, there are risks associated with this. Real world, common sense risks. For this project to succeed, there are two big financial milestones that have to be met or the project fails. The first is now $5 million, and maybe more,
5.2.
has to be raised or the project fails. The second is, even if you can fix that building, you have to rent enough space in that building to pay the overhead or the town pays for it. Now, in your feasibility study, it's only 10,000 square feet, but in your contract with the town, it's 100%. That you have to at least do 10,000 square feet. It's a big milestone. If you can't pay to support that building, the town's gotta pay for it. And you could make a perfectly reasonable argument, which is, well, it's a big asset of the town, and the town should be keeping it from falling into ruin. But the problem is, if the hub project failed, and the town now is paying $75,000 or $100,000, whatever it is, to heat it and keep it going, what you're doing is you're maintaining a building in which every single system has to be replaced. Sooner or later, that roof is gonna go. Sooner or later, the boiler's gonna go. So sooner or later, whatever that $100,000 or whatever it is, it's gonna be a giant liability. It's a time bomb waiting to happen. So I don't have any answers for you, but I would like to have somebody talking about Plan B, because this is, and God bless him if you can do it. I mean, God bless you. It's a great project, and God bless you. But, it's a hard old world, and with what's going on in the federal government and everything, it's just a hard old world. So I would like to see, and I don't know how to tell you that this kind of information, this hard, painful information is included in the public conversation. Now, I'm concerned that there's no window for public conversation in this upcoming meeting because you guys didn't make it an article. Now, my partner in outrage, Mike McIntyre, and I last year were standing by ready to argue about this, waiting for the announcement that it was time, and it just went by. And the two of us looked at each other like, what happened? And we were ready to argue, Well, I don't know why I don't know why you're not doing that, because you turned down the option for a vote when the petition came in, and that was your decision. But that meant we don't know what people thought about that. We know that it's a hot enough button that a petition was raised. It was a hot enough button that you had a select board member resign. But there hasn't been in my view, an open conversation about these risks and the real costs of it. So I have a couple of questions, and you can either answer them or, why wasn't it an article? And you don't need to answer them now, I'll put them out there. Why wasn't this made as an article? I don't understand, it could be talked about. Do you expect to come back to the town next year for another ask?
Yes.
Okay, so that should be made clear too, I think. This is only partial payment this year. And I think the original conversation was a 5-year window, am I right?
Yeah.
Well, 5 years at this kind of money, it's like $200,000. That's a lot of money. And is there a plan B? And if so, what is it? And if not, don't you think we should have one? And that's the end of my presentation.
Okay. Well, couple things. The feasibility study that was done by Peter Fairweather a couple of years ago estimated, it was done on admittedly a conservative basis, meaning estimating low on income and high on expense. And that budget was $160,000 a year. And that all of the revenue would be coming from the 10,000 square feet or so of rental income. Turns out that there are items in that budget that are not part of our expense profile, at least now or in the next couple of years. That specifically, there was $50,000 set aside each year towards capital improvement, which does not seem necessary right now, though we do need to build a capital fund over time. And another $10,000 or $12,000 for a paid staff person. Now, we do have a paid staff person, but the town is not paying for that. And on the revenue side, the estimate was about $16 a square foot for 10,000 square feet. That's how you get to $160,000. we can get to $100,000, roughly, this is what last year and this year, without 10,000 square feet of rental space. We have other users of the building that do not have annual leases, like Suzuki Week and the Players and summer music for kids and various other things. That's why there's $10,000 in the budget this year to cover that piece. The school paying income to the project is another $15,000. So that's in the budget. That was not contemplated by the Fairweather study. And then there's donations to help minimize the impact on the town. So, donations is part of it as well. If we can rent out 3, 4, 5, 6 to 7,000 square feet, I think it can be shown that that would be enough to cover the operating expense. And, we can talk numbers next Monday if we need to, and I'm happy to answer those questions as well. So, again, just making a comparison with the feasibility study, I think we're doing pretty well compared to the feasibility study. And again, it was meant to be sort of a pessimistic view of the future. Plan B for the building, if it doesn't, if we can't raise enough money. We've been talking about this at our board meetings. And one thing we might have to do is fit the renovation plan to the money available. Not be able to do all the things we'd like to do. So, for example, one of the most expensive parts of the building plan as it is now is a completely new HVAC system, replacing the oil-fired boiler system in that part of the building with a heat pump system. That's expensive, but it does save money in the long run, and you're not burning fossil fuel. So, those kinds of major chunks would have to be taken out of the building to get it down to the money that is available. We would also have to go back to the grant-giving sources to get that approved, because everything that we have planned so far has been, we've committed to it, they've accepted it as such, and that's what we're being held to, the plans that are for the building as now. So if we were to change it in any major way, not even a major way, we'd have to get approval for that. So that would be another part of the consideration for a Plan B. What else would you?
Why is it not its own article? But
Oh, that's a select board
Yeah.
question.
There's no particular reason why it's not its own article, and I don't believe that we had a major discussion about it. It was in the budget, we left it in the budget. We did separate it because it was just line items within the budget before. Now it does have its own category, which created this issue about not, the figures not adding up. But we did isolate it as its own entity, and that was basically for bookkeeping, so that it had its own general ledger account numbers.
But functionally, it meant there was no window for discussion, public discussion. It's public information really my biggest gripe. And I appreciate you telling me this, and that's, I don't know that you convinced me or that I, invest money in you, but I appreciate that thinking's going on, and that,
but we also don't discuss the budget for this building. Like, why is that different?
It can be discussed while we have the budget on the floor for a vote. I remember days when Homer Brown used to go over the highway department for like 45 minutes before, and it's part of the budget. So when we're voting for the budget, you can pick out any part of the budget and have discussion about it, and we can amend the budget. You can make a proposal to amend the budget. It goes back and forth.
It comes back to the window for discussion. You had, and not everybody in town is crazy about this. My point. Now, I might be the loudest sorehead, but other people have questions about this, are uncertain about it. It's a lot of money. I remember being on the budget committee, and everybody's worried about the library budget. Oh my God, the library budget. And here we have $96,000 floating out the window, and nobody's talking about it. And I just find that in a public information sense, very uncomfortable. Very
Isn't it
uncomfortable.
43,000?
It's the 2 years.
2 years.
Last year and this year.
Okay, so if we
This
look at
year and
library
next
2
year.
years, isn't that like
No,
$100,000?
I'm just saying.
Well, I'm just saying too, but if we combined, if we look at multiple years, or the highway budget, or the fire department budget, if we add those
Well,
together like that, that's
I
more
think-
money.
Yeah, I think a more relevant comparison is what's the alternate scenario for the building? And we got an estimate of demolition, $1.5 to $2 million. That was a couple years ago, so it's probably more. And that when our bond advisor told us that bond repayment would be over $90,000 a year, every year, for 30 years. That's more than twice as much as what we're talking about last year and this year, et cetera. So that's one option. And if people are not comfortable supporting $43,000 a year, they're probably not going to be comfortable supporting twice that for 30 years, which means that realistically the option is that it would just be boarded up and gone dark.
With respect, I don't think the demolition issue was really looked into, and I think, my sense is, my personal opinion, no hard feelings, that the VH1 folks have been extremely single-minded about this, extremely single-minded, and that there wasn't a lot of oxygen for other opinions. And I speak personally for having been shut down. So I would say if we're in court or something, I would question how many vendors did you talk to? How many? What other?
Why would that be
So
a giant issue?
pretend it was 800,000.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so halve it. I mean, quarter it.
Well,
I mean, pretend it's some smaller number. The argument is the same.
my starting point is I don't want to argue with everybody. I don't want to argue. This is my opinion. I've been wrong before, Larry.
No.
Ask my family. Ask my wife.
Discussion comes up front. We don't talk amongst ourselves out there, we talk to the board.
So, and I don't want to get into a back and forth here either. I want to make my point. The big point has to do with public information and people understanding and really knowing. And you've been helpful in that. I'm glad. I hope you do that on the meeting. I hope you update your website so that your figures are correct. But I don't want to get in an argument. I would say congratulations for having these thoughts and.
Okay, Larry.
There's always been three options, or maybe more. But there's been this plan that's been put forward. There's been abandoning it in place, and there's been tearing it down. So the reason I supported the town purchasing it for $1 was the school only had one option, and that was abandoning it in place because they had $0. Okay, and that's why I was strongly in favor of the town purchasing it for $1 and to relieve Stockbridge of any involvement. And I still feel very good about that, and I'm glad we did it. So there is still what the hub is trying to do, and then there are still those two other options. So whatever the demolition cost may be, whether it's 500, $1 million, $1.5 million, whatever, that it's going to cost something. All right, so you can weigh that against whatever this is currently costing as a proposal, or abandoning it in place, and everybody can look at it for 100 years. So those are the options.
Thank you. Now, there's also another option. Now, in my eyes, in my experience, that goes back a few years as well, the commitment to the VHI was a 5-year commitment. So over the course of the 5 years, the town made a commitment to support VHI. And then at the end of that 5-year period is when VHI can take over the building and take it off of the taxpayers, and it'll just move right out of the budget. I would like to stick to that plan as close as possible. The other option is everything that they do achieve in that building, in upgrading, making it more efficient, painting the doors, whatever they do to that building improves that building. And another option would be if they get the solar on the roof, if they replace that boiler, we could sell it. And then they turn around and walk away because it's not working out for them. We could sell the building, and everything that they do to improvement would be on the price tag of what the building would be worth. I'm not saying we buy it for $1, we sell it for $2, because we now have an investment, like you said, $100,000. So at this point in time, we would recoup our investment and give it back to the town, and then put that building on our tax roll as well. So that's also an option, and the further that VHI goes with improving the building, the more we're going to get for the building. And our investment is somewhat protected by that. Does that help at all?
Well, no, I understand, I
Somebody's
agree.
watching
And one
over
of my problems in
valuation of it?
business and in life, I'm always a worst-case kind of guy.
Well,
And-
there's the valuation
No,
of the
I understand
project
that.
as
I think-
well. There's a whole nother level that
And that's
nobody ever
legitimate.
talks about.
But that assumes that milestone 1 is met. And milestone 1 may not be met. I'm just saying, there's these 2 milestones that have to be met. If they're not met,
Well, we
the
don't
ship
know if they
sinks.
will be met if we don't hold their hand and walk them through it.
I'm just
It might
saying.
not be the Emerald City at the end of the yellow brick
That's
road,
right.
but we're gonna walk down it
Yeah.
to see how far we can get.
But I think it should be an open discussion. That's my point. Open discussion. I really appreciate
And it is.
you're laying it out like that. I appreciate what you said too, Patty. But I think this is people should be thinking about this and talking about this because there was never a vote on it. And you guys made the decision not to have a vote on it. God bless you, but there was no vote on it. So the more that happens in a black box, the more uncomfortable I am. That's all.
So the one thing that I disagree with is this whole idea of this all being done in secret, because I was at the very first meetings when Envision Rochester had their first meetings and people first started talking about, we have this building, right? From the beginning, it was like, hey, can you please sit at this table and talk about it? It was like trying to get a few people. And those first meetings, we were, all the people were saying the same thing. We need childcare. We need this. We need that. So from those first meetings, there was a lot of sitting around and people just being like, I want this. I mean, I think they were still up here for a while. Yeah.
That is one of the
Of
boards
like,
saying.
put sticky notes on things. So there was constant discussion from the beginning. And when that group of people took it over, I was not part of that group of people initially. But when they started moving with it, it was, I went back at one point and looked at like how many newspaper articles in the Herald was every time that group of people came and talked about it. It was dozens of times where it was in the Herald, it was here, it was there. So it was always open to the public. It was always talked about in the newspaper, at select board meetings, at various other meetings. I mean, if you had any events in town, which like if you don't go to events in town, you might not know what's going on in town. But if you go to events in town, then you'll see like the kids are talking about it, the parents are talking, so it was always discussed very openly, and people were always like, well, I don't like that. I want this in it. And that was, and so when I joined, I felt like I had already watched it grow because I was listening. I wasn't involved, but I was listening. So when I joined in, I was like, this has all been discussed. So that's just my opinion.
With respect, Asha, at the time, at the very beginning that you're talking about, it was a free building. We didn't know how bad that building was until the engineer's report was replaced.
Well, I think most of us knew how bad it was. I went to high school in that building. I knew what it was like in 2005.
I was in the meeting when it was revealed to the school board people, and they were shocked. They were shocked. But this is just my opinion.
Yeah.
I just, and maybe all the people know about it. But all the people that I know don't have these facts.
To the select board, there's no discussion amongst people in the meeting.
I honestly think we can do a better job of communicating. I mean, it's important that we've done the things that we've done. We've had some special meetings in the auditorium, the theater. We've had articles in the paper, and that's all good stuff. We have information in these booklets each year, but we could do better. We really could. And we want to do better. We'd love to have somebody on our board who specializes in communications, can do that. So.
I have served my purpose. Mike's taking over now.
News to me.
Thank you, Vic.
Well, you were involved in the VHI board.
Yeah. I'd like to say something, give some perspective on the 40,000, whatever it is, appropriation. That's
$43,516, I believe.
Yeah, so, we're paying to maintain the building. It's a town asset. We're paying to maintain the building the same way as we're paying to maintain every town building. The alternative to that is, let it decay into a safety hazard next to an elementary school. And further, that this is a financial obligation the town has always had. It's not new. It may have come out of the budget from the school, but the ultimate source of that money was taxpayer money. So it's not a new expenditure. And I guess the last reflection I would like to make is just that it's a 20% reduction in the appropriation from what it was last year. Things are moving in the right direction to take this off the burden of the taxpayers over the 5-year plan that's in place. Things are going in the right direction. So that's my 2 cents.
Do you have 2 cents, Jim?
Well, that's basically in a nutshell what I was
So you got a penny.
bound to say, so,
Yeah, that's good.
I second that.
Yeah. So we can further this discussion next week. The floor will be open, and I guess your question to us was, why is it not separated? There's no effort in trying to bury something not to have any discussion. When we're up to approve the budget, that's when that discussion comes to the floor. And if you want to talk about anything else, except the truck, that's separate.
Is it too late to make it an article?
Yes.
Well, then hopefully you
far.
consider next year, or for the next 3 years or whatever it is, to make it an article and allow people to discuss it and vote on it.
Okay,
And I appreciate your point.
okay.
I'll also mention, Rob, you reviewed the management agreement and you gave us some comments. Very good comments and much appreciated, so thank you for that.
Yeah. Thanks.
I move that we adjourn the pre-town meeting of the Select Board, February 4th at 5:30.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Welcome, everybody, to the regular Select Board meeting. It is February 24th, and it is 6:07. Oh, 23rd, yes. It says 24th. And so we're going to move into our normal agenda of business, which is looking over and approving prior meeting minutes. We have 2 sets to approve this time, January 26, 2026. I have read them over, and except for a typo, I move that we accept the meeting minutes as noted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And next on our agenda is the meeting minutes for February 9th, which there was also one typo in that as well. I move that we accept those meeting minutes as noted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now, what do we have on our agenda for library reports? Department reports. We start with the library.
I do not have anybody on Zoom from the library. Teams, excuse me.
And is there anybody from the highway?
No.
Utilities operator?
No.
Energy coordinator?
No.
Grant updates?
Negative.
I'm sensing a theme here.
Let's move along. VHI management updates?
Well, we covered a lot of ground already. The only other thing I was hoping to hear about tonight is management agreement sign off.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think we do have that. And are we going to sign that tonight? We're going to sign it tonight.
Yes.
It has been reviewed. It has been noted to the public and posted. And we're ready to pull the
Yeah.
trigger on it.
We did say that if anybody wanted to speak to it, we'd be happy to hear them tonight.
It's about the contract?
Yes.
I thought you guys did a good job on that contract.
Thank you.
Well, we had a lawyer.
We did a good job.
Wait till you see the bill. So I move that we sign the management agreement with VHI and as it is written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I believe all three of us sign it, correct? In more than
Yes.
one place.
There's an amendment on the back, or something on the back.
A rider.
A rider.
A writer.
You can sign too.
Yep.
Did you bring the champagne?
Well, I guess it's really one signature, so you can sign as the chair.
Let's give it over to
Yeah.
I like this pen. I wish it was blue. And that gets recorded? How do you file it? Under Valley Hub, then? Yeah. Spend a lot of money now.
Please don't trip.
Okay, wonderful. This is months worth of work, folks, so
Vic, do you need like a copy or something for your application?
he'll get it from
We'll
her.
give you
Yeah,
one.
just.
Okay.
Next on our list, something I'm probably not gonna get my hands on. I had just a few little select board updates that I can't find now. We have made some good progress with what was mentioned in our last meeting about the dog issue on Kennedy Drive. So we believe that we possibly have a resolution. Time will tell, but we're hoping that the neighborhood is quieter and safer, and we look forward to reporting that in full, perhaps at our next meeting. There's also a program out there called Community Housing Infrastructure Program. It's called CHIP, C-H-I-P. It is a program designed to support affordable housing and housing development in the state. So it's a pretty aggressive program. We're going to take a look at it. The nucleus of the program does have a tax credit program to it so that you're actually borrowing the money and would get to pay it back later on when you get new tax dollars for the new housing that you built. They are making money available for that new housing to be built, to be developed. And so if our septic system, our water system, our telecommunications, and our, see you later too.
Rochester Fire. Respondent 141, Great Hawk Road in Rochester. Fire alarm activation shown.
Oh, you'll be back soon.
Do you want me to do something on this?
No, I'm not gonna go.
Okay.
And,
Probably a false alarm, like fire.
this program provides a lot, it has had a very large umbrella of funding that it can provide for improving our septic, our water, our telecommunications, internet. It gives a lot of leeway to funding so that you can support this new housing. I'm going to look into it for our town, but the wall I'm going to hit is that I really just don't have 5 or 10 acres of land that could be developed into affordable housing unless I start knocking on private landowners' doors to see if they, would you be interested in having affordable housing? And so, I know you, Rob, have had an interest in affordable housing, and so this is a good program to look at if we have a fit for it. That could be a problem. I mean, I'm just going back to the search for a new firehouse, and we spent 2 years looking for an adequate place for the firehouse before we tucked one into where it is now. So that said, I don't know if we're going to be able to fit into this program, but our water and sewer systems are in need of updating. The lifespan for the last time that we did major renovations to our utilities is coming to an end, and we are being warned by our utility operator to look towards getting some updates done, and this program could possibly be one of them, but I don't know we can provide the avenue to get us to it. Looking into that, and that's pretty much my select board report for now.
Nothing more from me.
Good boy. You'll get your turn. Under new business, we have Form PVR 4155 certificate, and the signature, select board signatures required. Where is that? That is in here. Does everybody know what a PVR 4155 is?
Proper evaluation.
So this is a document, and I can read this one. It's relatively short. This is about property valuation. We hereby certify that on this date, there are not any appeals pending from action of the listers nor suits pending to recover taxes paid under protest related to April 1st, 2025 grand list in Rochester, Vermont. Given our hands at Rochester in the county of Windsor, state of Vermont on this, I guess we have to fill in this 23rd date of February. And we have 2 listers that have signed off on that, and this is part of lodging the grand list, saying that as far as they know, they're certifying that all the numbers are true and correct, and we have to back them up on that. We just need to notify it. We're gonna sign it. It doesn't have any numbers on it, we're just saying what they did was right. It's a little bit weird.
Pat,
Yeah,
along with that, is there any news on reevaluation?
not anything further than I know, except for Louis says it's going very slowly.
Okay.
Whether they discover that Rochester is like way out of the way, but I'm sure come good weather, they'll be
here.
full speed ahead.
We're still paying them
It's so
$4,000 a month.
Yeah,
They are, in the fall when, Ed had stopped by, he's head of the company that's gonna be doing the reviews, he said that they would not start until spring because they're still finishing up towns because they've just had such a big amount of towns that had to be redone.
yeah. I mean, the real estate market jumped up during COVID. All the prices went up. All the towns didn't qualify anymore. We all went under the threshold. And so it's a large percentage of towns that need to be reassessed, more than we had companies to do it. So we're in line. And we are on the list now, so.
Can I ask a question about listers? I noticed that some towns have commercial people doing the listing. rather than volunteers.
We are blessed with having people to do our listing for us
Yeah.
in-house.
That's saving us a lot of money.
There
What
was a
if you had a
time,
problem with the listers and your property and you had an argument with the listers?
there was a time when we had in-house auditors in this town as well, and we could go back to that someday if we wanted to. I was an auditor at one time, but now, we were having problems getting people to want to be auditors, and, we farmed it out and we hire it out and we spend a good amount of money for outside auditors. So if there's any professional auditors out there that live in Rochester, come on aboard and we maybe do some in-house auditing. Therefore, we wouldn't have to wait for our audits beyond the time that we expect to receive them. But it's one of those things where a lot of towns went outside for listers because they didn't have anyone wanting to volunteer to do that. That day may come for us. Hope not. Our main lister is up for re-election, and
And he has to be, they have to meet certain criteria, with classes and keeping
Oh, yeah.
up to date with training. If they don't meet like a level 1, and we don't have a level 1 person doing listing, then, yeah,
Then we would have to go out.
we would have to go out,
Yeah.
right?
I won't let that happen for a while.
We're very lucky.
Yeah.
I was a lister for 12 years. We do have our January treasurer's report here. I wouldn't mind tabling that just because of the volume that we had. I did not get a chance to look at it. Did you?
No,
Yeah, let's move this to the next meeting. We'll put it back in the envelope. But now we can move on to contract with Two Rivers Ottaquechee Regional Commission supporting the town with implementing Municipal Energy Resiliency Program, MERP grant. The MERP grant is the one that is going to improve this building and make it more energy efficient. We got money from this grant for this building and the town garage building.
well, I think we're
Go ahead.
gonna amend that scope of work and probably focus on this building, just because the garage has got other issues besides weatherization. And also we can use that money to, well, Two Rivers doesn't work for free. We would need to pay them to be our grant administrator. And it also would free up money to potentially hire an actual professional project manager. Because this is a lot to take on in this building, and we need to keep the office operating. So it's not the most complicated project in the world, but it does have its issues. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't think I have anything else more to say about that right now.
The Two Rivers Ottaquechee is, the regional commission is going to help us handle the administration of the grant. And that's why we're signing this contract with them to do that. I move that we accept the contract with Two Rivers.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
There it is. Blank lines. We used to have a grant administrator in-house as well. And now we farm that out to Two Rivers all the time. So that would be up to grab. You can come on in and start administering grants if you want.
That sounds like so much fun.
You can have it.
That is a tough one. Rochester, Vermont. Okay. Now we can move on to old business. Anybody got any old business they wanna talk about? No, I talked about the dog.
Nobody on Teams?
Did we learn anything from the dog crisis at Kennedy Drive? Is the town, because my sense was,
I said this a little while ago, I believe that the situation has resolved itself.
No, I know, I
We'll know
heard-
for sure in a week or so, 2 weeks.
yeah, but as an angry neighbor, I would say that it seemed to take a long time until she was finally, the problem was resolved. And I wonder if that's just the way it is, or did we learn anything from that?
There's a set of criteria, motions you need to go through. You just can't ride in like the Wild West. And so, we were going through those motions. And unfortunately, that takes time. If you send a certified letter, they have to go to the post office and get it, or they have to sign for it. And so when that takes a long time, it becomes a long time.
Well, problem solved anyway.
We hope. For the dog's sake. Public comment. Robert didn't dial back in.
No.
He doesn't know about the second.
I don't think so because he tried to join the other meeting again.
Ah,
No go.
okay, we're gonna get in trouble.
Okay, we'll have an email.
Yeah, you're gonna get a phone call.
So noted.
Anybody else have any public comment concerns?
Nobody on Teams. Teams is no hands, no nothing.
Okay, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Thank you.
Should we do it?